some ground rules as far as what we will accept and what we will not accept. In this country, lawlessness has taken over, and I'm sorry, but Democrats just get away with anything. They're never punished. They break the law. They promote looting, rioting. They defend Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Both, in my opinion, are terrorist groups in America. And we have no recourse because the Democrats deny that they exist. And they basically try to ignore the fact that these people are out here attacking policemen, free-thinking people, and the facilities of law enforcement and government. So on that note, we're going to be talking about Nikki Minaj. We're going to be talking about the UPS murders, and we're going to be talking about the dismissal of both of those cases between Letitia James and James Comey. All right, getting into it. That UPS situation, let me click onto the video.
Hey, check it out. Come on.
These robbers show up.
Oh.
They have a box.
Tienen una pistola, amigo.
What I just don't understand is this guy was there. He goes outside and he doesn't know that the UPS driver was at the door. He goes outside, goes to the end of the driveway, and he sees that the UPS guy is out there. Afterwards, he sees him at the end of the driveway. He doesn't take the box. They don't ask him to sign for anything. And he walks back to the door of the house. My question is, why are you walking to the house? If the UPS driver is there, usually in my experience, the UPS driver says, hey, you got a package. Can you sign here? He gives you the box and you walk away. Because I've been outside when the UPS driver has shown up and I go back in the house. This guy meets with two UPS drivers. There wasn't a truck outside. And he walks back towards the house. Once he gets to the house, the fake UPS driver pulls out a weapon and forces him into the house. Once inside the house, they're looking about. They get everyone into the living room, and then they're asking for money. So I don't know if these people were known to do illegal activity or how they found out if these people were possibly involved in illegal activity, but they're asking for money. And if someone is in your home with a weapon asking for money, obviously they got either good information or bad information. In this case, whatever information they got, it forced them to just get to the point where they just had to execute everyone. And this is the part where what bothers me, because they had children in the room.
Hey, check it out.
Knocked on the door. Said don't. He called for the third guy. They go inside the house.
Tienen una pistola, amigo.
Everyone's there. The mother, the children, they're ransacking the place. They're asking for the money.
Hey, check it out.
Next thing you know, everyone's deleted. One of the robbers was convicted. Let me see which one. I guess whoever the guy was who pulled the trigger, I think he got life. And his thing was, a jury has found one of the men accused of posing as UPS delivery worker, then deleting 3 people, guilty on all counts. Investigators believe Demetrius Schumpert, his brother Amari Schumpert, and Alonzo Mingo went to the home in Coon Rapids to steal drug money. As I said, people don't go into your home unless they got information on what you're doing. They're accused of pistol whipping Shannon Jungworth, her husband Mario Trejo, her son Jorge Reyes Jungwirth then executed them all execution style right in front of the two young kids. Shannon Jungwirth was able to secretly call 911 and leave the line open. Demetrius Shumpert has now been found guilty on first-degree murder for the deaths. Alon Domingo has already been convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Omari Shumpert is set to go on trial in December, which is now. Wow. What do you say to that? It just really makes you not want to trust anyone. You know, to sit there and to go into someone's home and to ask for money, and if you don't get that money, you had no problem deleting these people. And I think when you are on camera and you are seen committing such a heinous crime, I don't think the police should even arrest you. They should just take you out on the scene. It saves taxpayers money. It saves us the hassle of you lying and getting a lawyer and people crying, talking about how good you were and how misfortunate you were and why you had to go commit crime to pay your bills. We don't need to hear that nonsense. We really don't. We just need to know what time is he getting executed and how fast can he get there? Because this type of behavior isn't and shouldn't be tolerated in our society. And I know you're going to get people who are going to make up excuses for, they were really good guys and they really need the money and they were desperate and this is why they did it and they had kids at home that needed money. You know, get a job. Go get a job. Excuses are just like backsides. Everyone's got them. They all stink and no one really cares because there are people out here who are out here doing it properly and you're out here doing it wrong. And the thing is, if we accept this type of behavior, it's going to beget more of this behavior. And speaking of bad behavior, the Democrats are at it again. And I tell you like this, if you are a conservative and you somehow lose your brain and want to become a Democrat, a conservative will say, I really don't understand why you would go backwards and lose your brain to become a Democrat, because you have to really dumb yourself down to become a Democrat. You have to lose all logical thinking. You have to lose common sense. You have to lose all morality to become a Democrat. There's nothing moral about a Democrat. A Democrat has no floor. That's a person who advocates for anything under the sun, whether it's sexual degeneracy, understanding crime, legalizing of drugs, basically opening our borders, thinking that, we can save the world because we have infinite amounts of resources and everyone can come and get it. Just move the whole world and just empty all of your countries and come to America. That's what liberals think. That's how they think. It's illogical. We have finite resources. We can't feed everyone. We can barely feed everyone here in America. Housing. We can't house all those people. We have a housing problem in America. We have homeless on our streets. Pollution. Well, we have pollution because there are more and more vehicles on the street because more people who don't belong here are on our streets. And it goes on and on. To think like a liberal is that you have to lose your brain. And Nikki Minaj suddenly became a free thinker. And she met with Erica Kirk for an interview. And the liberals are starting to cancel her. Let's take a look. because as she is being interviewed, she answers questions about Trump. She answered questions about why she changed. And she said she got tired of being pushed around. But let you listen to her say it.
So those of you who know, Charlie was very good about having a surprise for every AmFest. And we are so blessed to have you.
Interview.
We are so grateful.
Lightly because she's
I
not
mean,
the
Thank
smartest
you.
person on
I'm
the planet,
honored
but
to be here. I am honored
I like the fact
to
that she
be
was
here.
able
Thank you for
to
having me.
take a stance.
love you guys.
And sit with.
So we're just
Erica
going to
Kirk
dive right into
and
this.
do this interview.
You had some
The fact that
fun words
she was able to do this
for Governor
not,
Newsom. I have to read
much
these
pressure.
tweets because they're amazing.
from the left and not let the left bully her. Conservatives don't bully people. They just don't. Conservatives aren't violent. Democrats will attack you. Democrats will kill you if you do not think the way they do. They will trash you. You all of a sudden become the worst person on earth if you turn or think differently than a liberal. We don't care about free thought as conservatives. You're free to think as you wish. We will disagree with you. We may say, well, you know what? Your thinking's a little off. But you know what? I appreciate the fact that you are making a choice of your own. You're free to make those choices. Whether they're right or wrong, you're free to have those choices. We will listen to you. We'll listen to you. We'll give you a stage to say, hey, you know what? Explain yourself. Defend your stance. And you have the right to defend that stance, no matter if we agree with you or not. But the simple fact of the matter is that Democrats, liberals, far leftists, they hate difference of opinion. They attack you. They try to censor. They went to Twitter, they went to YouTube, they went to Instagram. They said censor all conservatives. They used the FBI to go after these tech companies to say censor conservative thought under Joe Biden, in which that's what they did. You have the president of the United States being censored by Twitter and other platforms. And if the president can be censored, any of us can be censored. And censorship is not what America is about. So now Democrats are running around doing, nobody's censoring Democrats from doing anything. Liberals are free to spew their garbage anywhere they want. We will listen to you. But that opens up debate that says, you know what? Since you were able to spew your garbage, I'm able to come back with facts and to refute what you just said. Because I'm free to do so. Under Joe Biden and his authoritarian regime, you weren't able to do that. They even censored doctors, threatened to take their licensure because they did not go along with the talking points and the script about COVID. Yeah, doctors saying, hey, there are treatments for this. Hey, those masks are no good. And what did they do? They took their license. You had doctors who were afraid to talk about COVID. Afraid to tell you that, hey, you know what? You shouldn't take this jab because of fear of the liberals. They're talking about fascism, but liberalism is synonymous with fascism. They hate free thinkers. It's either their way or no way at all. They think they champion the little man. They hate the little man. They hate the person who's able to say, hey, you know what? I don't agree with that. Oh, no. Then something's wrong. You're a bigot. You're a racist. You're a sexist. You're a homophobe. They will label you and destroy you simply for saying, hey, I don't agree with that. And this is what they've done to Nikki Minaj. She had to shut down her Instagram because the people were harassing her. They didn't say, hey, you know what? Hey, Nikki, I heard your interview. I don't agree with you, but I still rock with you. Or, hey, Nikki, thanks for, that insight in that interview. I heard you. I agree with you. You changed my mind. You gave me a different perspective, and I understand where you're coming from. That would be called objectivity. That would be say, hey, you know what? I'm a human being. I'm a free thinker, and I'm able to say, I can see your point. I can agree with it or disagree with it, and I can appreciate it, and we can still be friends. Because these ideologies aren't created by you. You just have to accept those ideologies. You didn't create that ideology. You said, hey, I hear that. I agree with it, and I'm going to go with it because it benefits the country and also benefits me. But liberals are socialists and Marxists, and for them, you have to think like us to push our agenda. But on the conservative side, conservatives are free thinkers. You have conservatives that'll jump ship if they believe it's wrong and will side with Democrats. You rarely see Democrats siding with Republicans. And that's the difference. Republicans are able to think freely. Whether they're conservative or not, they are still free thinkers. And for me, I appreciate Nikki Minaj and her stance. But, there's certain people who are better suited as Democrats, or just maybe she should be an independent. I'm just going to be honest. Black people are too uneducated to be conservatives for the most part. Most black people don't understand politics, and most black people don't understand what conservatism is. They hold conservative values. But if they become Republicans or conservatives, they're going to waver back. They're going to wander back into liberalism. Because Africa, if we're going to go back in time, they live in a communal society. They don't believe in the individual. America is about the individual. The individual comes out of rough origins and he builds himself into something else. That is called pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. That is not what most blacks believe. They believe that, hey, you should get a handout. You should get help. The government should do something. And that's not conservatism. Conservatism says, hey, I see a problem. I'm suffering. I'm going to reinvent myself and do something to improve myself, whether that's through learning a trade, getting an idea to sell something, or I'm just going to work really hard and save my money. There are different ways to become successful as a conservative. As a liberal, it's the government must give me something. They must take money from other people for me to have something. Not to be successful, but just to have something. This is why you have people on welfare, and they vote Democrat. And when Trump put a work criteria on welfare, they blew their stacks. They were like, oh my God, how dare you have me work for this welfare? But how are you going to have any pride in yourself? How are you going to generate a work ethic if you don't work? It is right to have a work ethic, and it's right to put a work requirement on welfare. You're stealing from people. They ought to call it what it is. You're stealing from people to live freely. Section 8, WIC, welfare. You're stealing from someone because the money just doesn't come from the air. The government took it, which is why I am all for tariffs. Stop the government from taking the money of the American people. The government must go out and farm out investments for itself, to fund itself. It doesn't need the money of men and women who work hard. And women should maybe work less so more men can take care of themselves and take care of a family. But what we have is that you have liberals who want women in the workplace. They want women to basically undercut, which they do, the salaries of men, and basically transplant. women for men, which is a terrible idea because if men have no purpose, men become violent and desperate because men have to have purpose. And like I said, with Nicki Minaj coming over and changing her tune, that's nice and that's all fine and dandy, but she can't be a spokesperson for a conservative movement because she's not a conservative. The music she put out, the values she's holding, maybe it's just her onstage persona, but that does not fit well with a conservative movement. Women have to be women in a conservative movement. Women can't be the man and the woman in the conservative movement. Women are for being mothers, wives, and the backbone to support the family. And she has to know her roles because there are gender roles. Whether liberals want to accept them or not, they want women to be men. And society is going to hell in a handbasket because of it. You can't change roles because what you're designed for is what you're designed to do. Anyway, we'll get off that soapbox. This James Comey and Letitia James issue has come up again because some court said that threw them out, talking about the prosecutor wasn't properly appointed. And these two losers have gotten away with their crimes. James Comey for abusing his office and trying to trick people into doing things like Flynn, trapping them, trying to get them thrown in jail. And you have Letitia James out here abusing her authority to try to convict Trump and take his wealth. And all of a sudden she's being tried for mortgage fraud, not once, but three times, calling her father her husband, saying that she lived in New Jersey when she didn't, and also saying that her 5-bedroom was a 4-bedroom. So she's got all types of cases thrown at her, but here we go. The Department of Justice is appealing the dismissal of a pair of criminal cases against New York Attorney General Letitia James and former FBI Director James Comey, according to a new court document filed on Friday. James was indicted in October by a grand jury with charges of bank fraud and making false statements to a financial institution. Comey was charged in September with lying to and obstructing Congress during his testimony in 2020 about the FBI's investigation into false claims of ties between Donald Trump and Russia, which led back to the Steele dossier, the getting of the warrant to spy on Trump, going into the White House and trying to mislead people. Both had pleaded not guilty, and their cases were thrown out in late November. The newest appeals by the DOJ marked the latest move in what's been a series of unsuccessful legal actions taken against the New York Attorney General specifically. Well, when you start to talk about these appeals, you have a lot of liberals out there who aren't going to touch this case. James's original case was dismissed in late November after U.S. District Judge Cameron Curry ruled that former Trump lawyer Lindsay Halligan's appointment by the president as interim U.S. attorney for the East District of Virginia was unlawful. You know what? Don't touch the case on its merit. Let's just find technicalities. This is why these liberal judges need to be transplanted. The judge tossed Comey's case for the same reason that Halligan's appointment violated law restricting the DOJ from naming top prosecutors without a Senate confirmation. So you could run over someone with a car, but just because the prosecutor wasn't placed properly, you get thrown out and get out of jail free card. Basically what they're saying. We know you're wrong, but we're just going to run on this technicality. Halligan had presented Comey's case to a federal grand jury by herself 5 days before the statute of limitations would expire on the former FBI's director's testimony he gave to Congress. In Curry's November 24th decision, she wrote that James and Comey's cases were a unique, if not unprecedented, situation where an unconstitutionally appointed prosecutor, talk about unconstitutional. Most of everything Joe Biden did was unconstitutional, but where were these judges? Where were the Republicans to call it out? Used power she did not lawfully possess. Since the case was dismissed, DOJ prosecutors attempted twice this month to secure a new indictment against James, but a grand jury refused to bring charges both times. The New York official repeatedly claimed the prosecution against her was baseless, even though her name and signature are on the documents. Spoken like a true liberal. I see the evidence. I know I'm guilty, but all of this is baseless. Like Joe Biden in Ukraine. They have the recordings. They have his son with the money, but all claims are baseless. They have the LLCs. We have the fact that your brother and your uncle are taking money, but they're just baseless because we said so. In the latest legal filings, DOJ is appealing James and Comey's case dismissal along with several other actions, including the judge's decision that found Halligan's appointment and her signing of the indictments unlawful. James's indictment alleged that she lied about her plans for a Virginia home for which she obtained loan terms that would have saved her approximately $19,000 over the life of the loan. Her lawyer said the indictments against James were a mockery of our justice system. Really? I mean, like after going after the president, after a deal is already closed and settled, and going back and said that he basically inflated the cost, the value of his home. But the bank did its due diligence before it gave the president a loan and had to agree with the estimation of his property. Okay, let's not talk about facts. The attorneys for both Comey and James did not respond to a request for comment on the latest development of their cases. Whoa, man, you can't make this stuff up. You really, really can't. These guys skate by without getting any type of punishment. And for the Trump administration to look like it's been successful at stamping out corruption, it needs to get convictions on people. Whether it's Obama, who's a criminal, Comey, criminal, James, Bonnie Willis, all of these people, Alvin Bragg. You have so many people that they should be going after, but they're not. And no one's going to be able to take Trump seriously until some of these people get thrown in jail, especially people like Hillary and Bill Clinton. You have Bill Clinton on the island of Epstein, and no one is questioning him about his role. They're trying to link him to Donald J. Trump, which is a very, very difficult link, but they're going to try to give you innuendo, suggestions, throw smoke in the air to say, hey, maybe there's something there, but there's not. I think that to make sure that these Democrats get punished, the midterms have to go red. You need conservatives. I don't know if we have enough conservatives running who are viable, or people who are actually MAGA running. You don't see too many MAGA candidates running for office. And right now there are no MAGA representatives in Congress, which causes a problem because we need the president to have support. The president needs allies who are MAGA, who can say, hey, I truly believe in the Constitution. I want America to be great again, so I'm going to vote and support the president. But we really don't have that. So The only thing we can do is wait to see what happens in the midterms. Also wait and see what happens with the appeal on these cases, because James Comey is a devil. This man is nothing good. He voted for Hillary. He sat and said, oh yeah, my family voted for Hillary. But why are you out there trying to trip up the president, newly elect? This guy told you what his intentions were and what his agenda was. And then, he gets to skirt by because the statute of limitations runs out. But where were the Republicans to try to indict him before then? Republicans are not innocent. And really, there aren't enough conservatives to push these people to do their job. They're not doing their job. Basically, you have Republicans who are Democrats, and they're refusing to do their job properly. But on that note, let me know what you think. Drop me a line in the comments. And until then, this is your boy, Ace Capone. Peace. And I'm gone.